Greetings to you at the Cultivating Compassion Conference. We're here in Brattleboro, Vermont, and we're sorry that we're not with you. That just isn't possible for us. We regret that, but we did want to share with you some of the things that are happening here. We hope that collaboration can be inspiring and informative for all of us as we go about this important work. I'm Doug Cox. I'm a Quaker and a violin maker, and with me is
Jim Levinson, and delighted to be here, and I wish we could be with you in person. I have served for about 25 years as a spiritual leader of Jewish congregations. My primary work has been international public health and nutrition. I've done that for about 50 years, mainly in Africa and Asia, and teaching graduate students at U.S. universities. Now, as I get older, the slogan is think global but act local. So here we're acting local.
So in order to introduce you to to who we are in the town of Brattleboro, we've prepared a brief thumbnail for our sister communities. We'll talk about our sister community relationships later, but Brattleboro is a town of 12,600 people on the Connecticut River in the southeast corner of the state of Vermont. Brattleboro has a history of hill farming away from the river and manufacturing and commerce along the river. It serves as a cultural and commercial center for a region of 35,000 with an active and attractive downtown and a reduced but active manufacturing sector. It has a strong concentration of artists and writers and strong cultural and political history and identity. There are several small colleges and private schools with strong identities in the area. The area was settled in the early 1700s, and Brattleboro took on importance as a point of river and railroad commerce. It received a significant influx of hippies in the 1960s, who have become civic leaders and Brattleboro continues to attract people seeking non-material well-being and political engagement. It is shaped by the hilly Vermont terrain, which limits growth and focuses community identity within its valley. Brattleboro is a politically progressive state and governs itself through a representative town meeting and a board of 5 who oversee a professional staff and services. It has a long civic sense and a large body of nonprofit organizations serving the community's aesthetic, social, religious, and material needs. Though historically accepting, the region is predominantly white. Non-white population currently around 10% is growing, and efforts are being made to address historic power imbalances. The attractive downtown is home to many underemployed and underhoused people, many with complicated life histories. In 2017, the town joined the Charter for Compassion as an expression of long-held values and aspirations to make the world a better place. Jim, tell us how we got there.
Our interfaith community in Brattleboro heard about the Charter for Compassion, and we got very excited, so we went out and we got 700 signatures of town residents to get this on the town ballot. The citizens voted overwhelmingly to join the Charter for Compassion, and the Select Board ratified it. Here is the actual ratification document, which then led to the development of our Compassionate Brattleboro group. Here is our mission statement. The Compassionate Brattleboro's mission is to raise community awareness about the meaning of compassion in our lives and ways in which compassion can influence the town's government, the organizations and institutions within the town, and most important, among the town's citizens in our daily lives and interactions with others. The The Compassionate Brattleboro group is made up of members of the Brattleboro Select Board, members of activist organizations, some very committed people. The idea is two threads. One, being involved and concerned with compassion issues within our town. The other, our town being compassionate toward people in need outside of Brattleboro.
So what are we doing to fulfill that mission? One of the things we've recently done is a series of community conversations on compassion. There were 6 of them held at our local public library on Wednesday evenings. The topics were compassion, spiritual teachings and their challenging practice, followed by compassion and human services, compassion and business, compassion, town government and the police, compassion and our public schools, and compassion and healing. These were reasonably well attended and brought up several interesting conclusions. One is we realized that Brattleboro is already a very compassionate community, that we do have a language to speak to each other, and that these conversations are really very helpful. These conversations are all available for viewing on the Brattleboro Town website.
And sufficiently popular, Doug, that we've got 4 of them planned for the fall that will deal with such questions as climate change and employment for homeless people, and the idea of restorative justice. Let me mention another activity that we've got. We have monthly compassion stories of the month that appear in the local newspapers. Every month we're up to number 23, submitted by town members writing about such things as elementary school kids supporting an artist whose studio burned down, Brattleboro citizens singing at Christmas time at a prison, some people from the oncology ward at the hospital writing about one of their particularly compassionate nurses, and some interviews with homeless people that do panhandling on the streets.
And these are all also available on the town website. I mentioned the little bit that I read, our thumbnail of Brattleboro that was intended to share with our sister communities. We currently have 4, which is our newest initiative, and these are fledgling relationships, and we want to get to know these communities. We have one in India, one in Haiti, one in, is it?
El Salvador,
El Salvador
and Kenya.
Mm-hmm. Part of what we're trying to do is to both celebrate the connections that Brattleboro residents already have around the world, and to help us remember that while we're acting locally and having to get along with our neighbors, that we are also people of the world.
One of the other things that we've been concerned about, as you've been concerned about, is the amount of divisiveness in our country. We saw that a neighboring community in Massachusetts decided to deal with that by picking a town in Kentucky, going down and talking with them, developing trust and having conversations. They did the same with a town in South Carolina. When we brought up the subject, someone said, hey, we've got enough differences of perspective in our own community, let's do it here. And we are in fact doing that in October, starting out with a project together to develop some trust, and then a really open conversation about everything from role of government to immigration to gun control, with the premium on active listening.
Compassionate Brattleboro inherited a program called Unsung Heroes. And this had been going on for a while. It's now under our auspices. Last year, it was given to dentists who provide free dental service to those in need in our community and other parts of the world. This year, the award was given to Community Asylum Seekers Project, which is a local initiative to house and feed people who are awaiting processing for asylum claims in the United States. There are currently, I think, 8 in the Brattleboro area who are being housed here.
One of the things I've noticed, Doug, is as a result of all of this, there's just a lot more consciousness of compassion, a lot more use of the word compassion. It feels very good.
Well, I think we're certainly using it more, but I think our sense is that the community is more comfortable with the word and using it more often.
Right.
And with Karen Armstrong's 12 steps, the first one is to understand compassion and to have a sense of that, and that's probably where we are, is step 1.
Right.
So,
and we are really looking forward to a strong connection with other communities that are part of the charter. This was Karen Armstrong's dream as well, that charter communities would interact with each other. We're very excited about that, and we're looking forward to hearing all about the conference. We're very much with you in spirit.